Hi everyone, Christian here, and I'm going to break down Filipino movies across all genres. I created this series to people who just want to know what the story and don't have time to watch the whole movie. But I really want you to watch the movie first before proceeding with this breakdown because, this video contains a whole lot of spoilers. So, in this list, I based it on a web article of Fiction File of their 21 best films of all time from Philippine cinema. I give all the credits to them for making this list. So, if you want to check their website, there is a link in the description. This movie is directed by Gerald Taurog, who also the director to the movie General Luna. This movie is the sequel to that movie, so if you haven't watched it yet, I highly encourage you to watch that first because, it is so good. This movie was based on a historic event during the Philippine-American War after the death of General Luna, where our hero or main protagonist is Gregorio del Pilar, a young, brave, and handsome general who can make all the ladies fall in their knees. This movie centers around how he struggles of being a young general into becoming one of the Philippine hero. So, if you want to know all the main point of every scene and why this is one of the best film in the Philippines of all time, well, let's go ahead and break down Goyo, the young general. The movie starts with a message saying what happened after the death of General Luna and some introduction to Gregorio del Pilar. And then after that, we cut to the scene of Bamban train station, where this captain suspects General Jose Alandrino as General Luna just because of his beard. The captain didn't know that General Luna died before that day. Well, General Jose Alandrino was a close ally to General Luna. After that, we see Alejandrino and Apolinario Mabini. I'm just gonna call him Mabini, just for short. They were talking about that General Luna is gone and that the President, Emilio Aguinaldo, should worry no more. And the person who ordered to find Luna dead or alive was none other than Gregorio del Pilar. Well, Emilio ordered Gregorio to kill Luna, dead or alive. That's what I'm trying to say. After that, we see Gregorio del Pilar. He's young, smart, and a handsome dude who can get any girls around him. We are just gonna call him Goyo from now on, okay? We see him taking his historic photo shoot with Joven and Joven's uncle. And after that, right before he approaches these girls, the bros of Goyo, Julian and Vicente, came to interrupt the scene just to tell him that they captured the brother of General Luna and just want to find out if they are a traitor to the country. And then we see the brother of the kid who runs away from them but also got caught in the action. After they have caught the brother of General Luna, Goyo, caught by the attention of Don Mariano's daughter, Remedios, I guess he really believed in love at first sight. And then we cut to the scene where the photographer from before, his name by the way, his full name is Joven Hernando. He's just there writing some letter for his father that Joven doesn't feel Goyo, that Goyo might do something crazy like that. And then we see the brother of General Luna getting his butt kicked just to join Goyo's troops. But like from the movie of General Luna, where this scene is actually this scene. Well, they are beating his brother just to join Goyo's troops for his freedom. But he doesn't like that and just calling Goyo as a dog and not a soldier because he just goes around and following orders from the president. Then after that humiliation, the bros of Goyo just killed him like that. Again, we see Alejandrino and Mabini talking about soldiers that are incompetent to the job of being a soldier, and that the people who are rich and has a higher position are the first to kneel to the Americans, and that the next generation is the only hope. And this scene is where we see Goyo struggling to his position as the general. Then after that, Goyo and his bros were invited to a dinner at Don Mariano's house to introduce them to his family and ask for an apology for the commotion they did earlier. And after that small talk and eye to eye between Goyo and Remedios, Don Mariano asked what Goyo wants from her. Yeah, we all know what he wants, so anyway, the next scene, we finally saw the president, yes, the one who ordered to kill General Luna. And also, the day Goyo became the Major General, yes, just by killing the brother of Luna. Then, the president warns Goyo that someone will avenge for General Luna's death. And then we see Felicidad. She is the daughter of Emilio Aguinaldo and Goyo's former girlfriend. I guess that Goyo was really a playboy after all, because, he got a lover from different town. And after that, we traveled to Manila. I think that Manila was taken over by the Americans that time because, General Luna is dead and they can take over whatever they want. So, you see here a group of old dudes, old American dudes. No, just kidding. They are Major General Elwell Otis and Mr. I Shall Return, or General MacArthur, planning to take over the northern part. And then in the next scene, they are celebrating Goyo's promotion from becoming a major general. Even if they are in a war with the American. And then, we see Goyo horse riding in his prime glory as the major general. After the preparation, they started the fiesta with some roleplay from Goyo's experience. And here, we see Goyo having some of his flashbacks from the previous war. Yeah, they did a great job in making these flashbacks. Like, sometimes that's how you feel portraying it in a movie is just amazing. Okay, back to the movie. After the flashbacks, the bros saw someone that there is something suspicious about that man. And Goyo continued his celebration like the war is over. But, not quite yet. Then, Alejandrino and Emilio greeted each other to welcome him to the celebration. Then again, we see Goyo having flashbacks from before, from his memories, and started hallucinating, thinking that the suspicious man from before was going to kill him. Then, we see him acting so manly from the other general because he is now the major general, like he is more powerful now than them. Then again, we see Joven writing from his diary, telling that what is the worth of being a hero. Then, the next scene, we see Emilio and Mabini talking to each other that the president is going to give some offer to the Americans and offering Mabini to be the president of the Supreme Court to judge people by the truth. Yeah, just like that. To bring peace with the truth for the nation. And after that scene, the bros of Goyo were invited again to Don Mariano's house to announce that Julian, one of the bros, is going to be promoted as military governor and he can no longer assist Goyo in his mission because he was departed to other mission. Then, the next scene, we saw the daughter of Mariano and Emilio arguing with the mango. I guess they were just comparing mangoes to themselves, but Remedios is so chill to handle that situation. Then, this scene, we see Joven's uncle is leaving to make business with the Americans, but he doesn't want the general to know that he is going to go business with the Americans. Then, after that, the celebration starts. There is some dancing and flirting to each other, while our boy Joven reading all the letters from the other girls of Goyo. And Goyo just straight up said to Remedios that he wants to marry her. Yeah, just like that, a man is to be a man. After the celebration, I guess that Joven come to realize that all the events and celebration blinded them that the war is not yet over. And then, in the next scene, we see Alejandrino and his translator for the Americans to offer something for them. And then, we see Alejandrino and Otis talking to each other, but the meeting ends up to be a disaster because they think that the offer is just minor for the Americans and that the Americans want to take over all Luzon and they should just give up. While they are talking with the Americans, Goyo and the bros are just, drinking. Like nothing is ever going to happen. Then, after some talking, Mabini is trying to say that he doesn't like what they are trying to do with the Americans. He says that in order this to become effective, the whole nation should talk about it before they negotiate. And now, we see that the Americans is executing their plans while they are having fun to take over the northern part of Luzon. Then, the next scene is where they are in a war against Americans, but I guess Goyo think that is just a minor war and should not worry about it. And then the uncle and Joven are arguing because his uncle is doing business with the Americans. Then we see Goyo is in the church following Remedios to confess his feelings. And then the struggle is happening again. We can see it through his hands. We can see from his shakiness. Then after that, we see Goyo having a nightmare. He calls his bros and goes swimming in a lake past late evening. They also brought Joven as their lookout. Then, we cut to a scene when Mabini is writing his thought for the Filipino people about acting like a child. Then, another cut to Captain Manuel Quezon that American is taking all over it in their village. But, some of his soldiers died from a shot. Then the war has finally begun. While Goyo and the bros are swimming, Goyo experiences again. I guess this time this is a vision of him, saying that he will die soon. Then suddenly, some soldier noticed that there's someone, so they shot the bros, but none of us harmed. And the soldier who shot at them is actually Julian's cousin. Then we see Goyo drowning but came right back, saying that he will die repeatedly. As if he really is dying right now. In the next morning, they were now receiving the news that the Americans are coming after them. Then Remedios' sister gave Goyo a note before Goyo leaves. And now, they are leaving the town because they lack soldiers to fight back. Then, we see a meeting of Goyo, Emilio, and Alejandrino to talk about the Americans is now taking over the country and they need to cooperate to one another. Then, they gathered to Pangasinan to travel to the northern part of Luzon. The troops of Luna and the troops of Goyo joined force to protect the village. Then, the soldiers start marching and Joven guesses that the Americans are one step further from them and they need to move to another village and nothing really is happening from the plan and that many soldiers are fleeing from their plan. After that, they were traveling different village one after another to seek for help, but none of them gives them help. Then the next scene, we see the wife of Emilio is having a cold and then Goyo thinks that is the right time to stay there for the night. And after that, we see Goyo's former girlfriend, Felicidad. She tells that Goyo is now changed and he's not a soldier anymore because he likes to just celebrate and not be on a war. And after that small talk, they heard a gunshots. Vicente, his bro, immediately tell him that they've heard some gunshots, but Goyo just ignores that. But actually, the Americans has already invaded the rear camp. While invading the rear camp, while falling asleep, the wife and daughter of Emilio was taken by the Americans. In the next morning, they find a village that can cater them to stay. And after that, we see their final destination, the Mount Tyrant. They know that behind that mountain is the way to escape from the Americans. And then, the next scene, we see Goyo here reads the note from Remedios and realize that what he needs to do. That he is not a hero above the clouds, rather than a hero that knows his limits above the mountain. Yeah, I cracked there a little bit. Then, we see that he saw the whole village up the mountain, that they can use it as their advantage to the Americans when they try to invade. Then, the next scene, we see that they are now teaming with the soldiers of Ilocos Sur to defend the Tyrant Pass. But none from Ilocos Sur soldiers stand up, so the man, Lieutenant Garcia, is presenting himself, saying that they are far from being a coward. And that is the only reason why the soldiers of Ilocos Sur stood from their feet to join the force, and also his son joins the force. Yeah, he's junior. Then, the next scene is another historic photo shoot that we can see from the Google. Yes, you can really search it, the Battle of Triad Pass. It's amazing how they also included the sun in the picture. Or is it? Then, the next scene, we see them preparing for the attack to the Americans. After they prepare, they enjoy the night with the show provided for them by the Ilocos Sur natives. But it only makes all of them uncomfortable. Then the next day, we see everyone giving their speeches to give them hope to one another. And the day after the war begins, all of them are having problems sleeping because, tomorrow is the war. Tomorrow where the Americans will invade them. The next morning, the Americans is now trying to find where they go. Then we see here Peyton March. Or, Peyton. After that, they were hit by one of Goyo's troops and that they're planning to find another route to attack them. After that, we all see some gunshots from the Filipinos, but the Filipinos were overconfident about their plan, that the plan that they are working is really effective. But the Americans asked the natives if there is some other way to ambush them. Yes, we see here that they can ambush them from behind, and that's it. They were totally ambushed from behind just because of that behind road. And after that, we see a lot of Filipinos taking by the shots. Why? Then the war continues. Soldiers after soldiers dying without killing. Like, come on, they only shot one American, then they just, didn't kill him. This scene, I'm waiting for some American soldiers to be killed, but just to build the tension, but I guess we were losing this fight after all. Yeah, we're losing now. Then, we see Joven trying to escape along with Garcia's son, but Joven fall down to the hill to save himself. I don't know if just to save himself, but it was an accident. Then, Goyo tried to be vulnerable by running just to see how many Americans are left, while not knowing there is already someone who have a clear view of him. Then after that, bang! Just like that, he's dead. The Americans won the war, and all the soldiers retreated from the war, even his bro, Vicente. Then the next scene, we see Alejandrino pass a letter to Mabini, and that letter is what Emilio tells him from the meeting before they leave the town. Mabini is talking that the only way to save the countrymen is by giving his own blood, just like Dr. Jose Rizal's sacrifice. And then at that moment, we need a moment of silence for all the people who died from the war, including our hero. Then after that, we see all of them, including the Americans, at Goyo's grave. We really see the downfall of the Filipino nation to the American, surrendering. And then we fast forward to a scene where Manuel and Emilio are talking to each other. But I guess that Emilio have already surrendered his life to the Americans. Then we get to the last scene of Remedios finally reading Goyo's letter for her. And that's it. That's the whole movie. Wow, that is so long. I'm so overwhelmed of what this movie is all about. So many information of our history, so many information that needs to be breakdown, but I'm just a casual watcher. Personally, this movie is great for the Filipinos out there who never really knew what happened, or the textbooks are just boring or not enough for you. This movie gives ideas that Filipino didn't really surrender, but outnumbered by Americans. They were brave, but kinda sad because Goyo didn't deserve to die like that. I'm just hoping for a comeback where he kills someone, kills some American soldiers, try to redeem himself, but no, well, that's just me. And also, the president surrendered himself from the Americans. And that leads to what Filipinos are today. We are fluent in English. We kinda adapt their culture. Oh yes, after that, there is a post-credit scene where Manuel Quezon is now running for president. But Emilio just let it be because, he's old. He just wants to give it all up. So, does I think this is the best films of all time? Well, yeah, it is one of the best films of all time for us Filipinos, just because of its story, acting, and also that cinematography. It would take so much time to produce this film. And that's it for the breakdown. See you guys again in the next one. Ingat!